looks blurry. Mm. Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. Okay. Hey, Tiffany, does the video look blurry to you? It looks blurry to me. Hey there, hey girl, hey. Can you tell me if the video looks blurry? No light coming in. Yeah, I noticed that when This is weird. I didn't change anything different in my background. Ain't no light coming in from the sun yet, but it's blurry. I don't know why. I don't know. Could it be my camera? I don't know. Sorry, y'all. I'm about to. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it was my camera. Is that better? Looks better to me. That look better? I think it was my camera. I know what you meant, Train. I know you meant blurry. Yeah. Does it look better? I think it was my camera. Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay. I was like, what in the world is going on with this? And you know what I think I just did? When I went to go pick it up, it almost hurt us right before I went live, and I grabbed it like this, so I think maybe my palm print or something. My hand's not greasy, but apparently some kind of grease on them. I was like, because when I went live, I noticed, I'm like, what just happened to the screen? Okay, so it was my camera. Human error, operator error. Okay, y'all, so we got that fixed with that swabble. Okay, y'all. All right. Happy Thursday. It is October the 29th, 2020. Day 288 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. It is year 2, day 652. And for those that don't know, who may be tuning in for the first time, we have literally been reading through the Old Testament. This is our second time reading. We started December the 22nd, 2018. And the purpose of reading it is because I wanted to be a study buddy for people who normally just don't venture into the Old Testament, raised in a New Testament church, and have no clue what Yahuwah himself has said in the Old Testament. So I figured we New Testamented to death, so let's go find out the origin of all of these things, right? So that's why we're doing the Old Testament. Everybody read the New Testament enough, but I figured you might need some help or a study buddy, somebody to read with you through the Old Testament. And I figured I'd be a study buddy. Greetings. So that's why we keep reading the Old Testament over and over, because growing up we kept reading the New Testament over and over, and I literally know it literally almost just like the back of my hand. Because for years, up until I was like 38, I would only read the New Testament. I mean, that's kind of like what we were taught. And the only time we really ventured into I was reading the New Testament. The only time I really ventured into the Old Testament was to just go back and not necessarily verify what I saw in the New Testament, the scripture that kind of, hey, this is fulfilled back here in Isaiah. So I would just listen. This is what I would literally do. If I saw a scripture that said this is fulfilled in Isaiah, I would go to Isaiah. It does say that. Boom. And I go back to the New Testament. I'm like, but as I realized, when I actually Yahuwah started dealing with me about actually reading it, it opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. And it opened my eyes to a lot of stuff in the New Testament. I was like, wait a minute, but the New Testament says this. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, you said this was fulfilled right here and actually shows the fulfilling of this. But the New Testament says something different. So, of course, I had to go through that. Wait a minute, it's contradicting itself, all that. Gotta tell you that playground video shocked me. Thanks for sharing. We live in like, oh, I'm like, playground video. Oh, with the little twirly thing, Trina. I'm like, what? Who knew we were supposed to use this thing like this? Let me go tell my kids about this. Because I seen my kids. Ain't nobody, when we go, they got one on the playground. I ain't seen a now child using that contraption. The wheel was built to be used. So I'm going to have to show my kids this video. So next time they go back to the playground, I'm like, look, try that, what we're seeing on the video. See if this really worked like this. And so hopefully other kids will see them using it like that, and everybody will start using it appropriately. They're going to try it. They're going to see somebody do it, and they're going to try and do it themselves. But anyway, yeah, Trina, it shocked me too. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So I went through the whole, okay, this is not lining up, it's contradicting itself, so that's when I really started delving more. I was like, okay, well, I know Yah doesn't contradict himself, and that's when I began to realize and look to Yahuwah as the authority. Okay, everything must line up with what he said, and that's when I began to realize there actually is leaven in the loaf, in both the Old and the New. When you read in the New Testament, in the book of Revelation, where it talks about what would happen to those who add to it and who takes away from it. And that has been done. A lot of people don't believe it, but that has been done. Things have been added and things have been taken away. But when you get familiar with Yahuwah's voice and how he operates, and the Old Testament is full of examples of him speaking and how he operates and how he deals with different situations, and how he deals with his people. So when you become familiar with that, you become a lot more aware of who's speaking, when he's speaking, or when they're speaking, and what doesn't line up with what Yahuwah has said, which will, okay, red flag, okay, we need to check into this. Has this been added, or has something been taken away from this that we don't readily see? We need to do a little bit more investigation, and that's how it, and that's how it begins. You find in the process of the leaven and removing it for yourself. A lot of people, they don't do that. They just, oh, I read it, I'm good. I do a little bit more, so. But okay, beautiful people. So that's that. So today we are reading, I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. Psalms 81, 82, and 83 today. I'm going to check them real quick. Make sure. Wait a minute, Bo. Wait a minute. Y'all don't touch that computer. I actually really need y'all to go get some clothes on, because we need to, we got to be leaving shortly.
Where?
And we'll talk to Dad. I'm live, bro. 18. Okay. Yeah, we're going to stick to the 3 chapters today, y'all. So 81, Psalm 81, 82, and 83. Okay, so let's get started. Sing praises to Yahuwah, our strength. Sing praises to the God of Jacob. Sing, beat the tambourine, play the sweet lyre and the harp. Blow the ram's horn at the new moon, and again at the full moon to call a festival. Okay, I ain't even gonna get off into it, but time trackers right there tells you. For this is required by the decrees of Israel. It is a regulation of Yahuwah, the God of Jacob. He made it a law for Israel when he attacked Egypt to set us free. Remember how we mentioned that yesterday as well? All the way in the beginning, even before Jacob was a thought on this earth, he chose Jacob to be the ones who he would give his law to and who would actually be required to keep his decrees. He didn't mention any other nation, not that any other nation can't, because other nations can come and be a part of his family and be his people, but it is required by Yahuwah. That's why a lot of time, our people who haven't fully awakened to who they are, and they kick back against them, like, okay, I don't fight with you. You may not understand that you are Israel. You are Yisolili or Yisraela. You may not realize that you are his people in the way that Scripture tells us that we are his people. But we are required. We are 100% required to keep his laws, his statutes, and his commands. And that's another reason why a lot of people don't know what they are. And it's like, oh, it's done away with. Nothing about being a good, decent human being is done away with. And that's exactly what those laws detail. It teaches you how to live in a community, how not to defile yourselves, how to defile one another. If there's an injustice, and it lists a lot of different injustices, this is how they should be handled. The chain of command, all of those things. And people say that because that's what they've heard. And so they regurgitate a bunch of garbage and incorrect information without actually going to check for themselves. You know, so yeah, so that's it. I just read that again. Verse 4. For this is, now I go to 3. Blow the ram's horn at new moon and again at full moon to call a festival. For this is required by the decrees of Israel. It is a regulation of Yahuwah, the God of Jacob. He made it a law for Israel when he attacked Egypt to set us free. I heard an unknown voice say, now I will take the load from your shoulders. I will free your hands from their heavy task. You cried to me in trouble, and I saved you. I answered out of the thundercloud and tested your faith when there was no water at Meribah. Listen to me, O my people, when I gave you stern warnings. O Israel, if you would only listen to me, you must never have a foreign god. You must not bow down before a false god, for it was I, Yahuwah, your God, who rescued you from the land of Egypt. Open your mouth wide, and I will fill it with good things. But no, my people wouldn't listen. Israel did not want me around, so I let them follow their own stubborn desires, living according to their own ideas. Oh, that my people would listen to me. Oh, that Israel, oh, that Yisolili would follow me, walking in my paths. How quickly I would then subdue their enemies. How soon my hands would be upon their foes. Those who hate Yahuwah would cringe before him. They would be doomed forever. But I would feed you with the finest wheats. I would satisfy you with wild honey from the rock. Psalm 82. Yahuwah presides over heaven's courts. He pronounces judgment on the heavenly beings. How long will you hand down unjust decisions by favoring the wicked? Give justice to the poor and the orphan. Uphold the rights of the oppressed and the destitute. What was I just saying? What am I just saying? We're reading this and he's just giving an overview right here about what Yahuwah's laws, statutes, and his commands is. He's literally giving us a handbook for living here on the earth, and nothing is too hard. Even the famous 10 commandments. What about those 10 commandments are hard? The first 4 is dealing directly with him, how you deal with Yahuwah and respond to him. The last 6 is dealing in community with one another. Ain't nothing hard about that, people. There's nothing hard about that. I tell you what, people get off when they listen to the European converts who are currently tenants in the state Israel that was created by the Balfour Declaration, listening to them and their rabbis over 619 commands and stuff. And when people hear 619 commands, you lose them right there. They go back to scrolling on their phone. I'm like, you know what? It's a game, y'all. They playing with you to keep you asleep. Listen, if you go back, there is no reason to call out 619 commands. It's really not. Because first of all, every single one of them that you counted does not apply to everybody, because they're when they say 619 commands, they're actually listing some of the things, the rules and regulations within the community. Like if you get into a fight and you guys bump into a pregnant woman and causes her to lose her baby, there's restitution that must be paid to that family for that child that has been lost by your ignorance and your fighting. Like that would be considered one of those 619 commands. That applies to both people, but when they say that, they don't explain it the right way. And there's also one that, well, not one, there's multiple that apply to only men. So there's not 619 commands that women have to follow, because some of those that they're pulling out and giving numbers to apply only to men. And just like there's some that apply only to men, there's some that apply only to women. Men don't have menstrual cycles. Yahuwah talks about women who are on their menstrual cycles. None of those commands that he gives to women apply to men. So that's what I'm saying. When you hear, you gotta verify and validate the information that you're hearing. And just because when our people are waking up and they're going into the ways of the Jewish people, and they've added a lot of stuff to Yahuwah's word as well. They keep some stuff, but they add to it. People get all discombobulated with all the extra commands that they teach and they throw out, and calling them commands is misleading. Yeah, thank you, Tiffany. Calling those commands are misleading all by itself, just like what Tiffany said. So that's, whenever you hear that, just ignore it, because I listen to different people as I'm researching. They just, it throws them off, and it's like 619 commands. Woe is me. Where is this list? Ain't no way in the world I can keep 619 commands. Like, who has time to walk around with this list? Oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I'm like, see, that's a good word. It is really misleading, Tiffany. It really is. And the way they do it, and you look at, not to harp on them, but the way they teach it that's not our way of life, y'all. If you understand that we're the people of the book, we have a certain culture about us. Yahuwah has a certain culture in his community. And some of the stuff you see our people doing, that the Jewish people are doing, we should do away with it. We really should. For one, just don't. I would say look into everything. You got to verify everything, right? I cannot stress that to you guys enough. So when that's another thing that keeps people, the commands are done away with. We got to love your God as yourself, and love the Lord your God with all your heart, and love your neighbor as yourself. But you know what? That is true. That is really true. But
it's common sense.
Wait a minute, Jeremiah. It is common sense, but all the commands are common sense. They really are. But what happens is, when people don't even read it, they don't have a full understanding of what that scripture means. Like, those who love me keep my commands. Yahuwah's Torah, his commands, they are commands of love. They completely are. And you hear people, once you start getting into this and you get off and you hear misleading things and you run with them, it throws off your understanding and you can't see clearly. And now you begin to fight with people. That's done away with. We ain't got to do this, because you're not looking at it with clear vision. You're not looking at it in the way that Yahuwah was giving it to us, right? All those things you got. That's why we're reading it, because nobody, I ain't gonna say nobody, but you get what I'm saying, because most of us in the church that come out of the church because we realize, hey, something is missing, I don't know what's going on here, but Father, I need your help, so you can't just read the New Testament. I said a lot of times, you heard me say in the beginning, the New Testament is like the Cliff Notes of the Old Testament. There was power, there was mercy, there was grace, all there. It's talked about all the time there. But for some reason, people say, he was a God of wrath. And I was like, how do y'all get that? Anybody who's read and studied the Old Testament, and even some of the things that weren't canonized, other books and things from this time period, you would know. You would think, when you hear people say that, wait, how do you come up with that? Yahuwah is full of mercy. He's full of grace. He's full of kindness. His mercy fails not, because his compassions renew every morning for us. Like, how do you come up with that? It's because people don't read, and they take in the garbage that's peddled to them from pulpits and from people who have no clue what Yahuwah has said from his very own mouth. So I got to keep the video short. I would love for you to chime in, but we got to be rolling in a few minutes, and I already done started talking. So, all right, y'all. So, but yeah, do me a favor, make sure they got their shoes on, because I got to drop you off and I got to get your dad to the airport. Okay,
but
all right.
I'm just saying, it's just like Africa, how they trash Africa, but in real life, it's one of the most beautiful places.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If y'all didn't hear my son in the background, he said, you hear them talking about Africa, like they really indoctrinate us bad about Africa over here. He said when it's really one of the most beautifulest places. And you find that out if you do any kind of going on YouTube and looking at people's videos who actually, from the diaspora, they go over there and they actually video record and show you some of these things. Like, let me tell you, the way I grew up thinking about Africa, for one, when I found out they had water over there, I'm like, what? They got actual houses over there? Like, Bro, they got phones. Like the way you talk about Africa growing up, you think they all living in mud huts and run around barefoot and ain't got enough to eat. And like seriously, it was like a whole paradigm and mind shift the last couple of years as I learned more and more. And I actually reached out to a couple people over there, like emailing back and forth. I'm like, y'all got what over there?
They have
Like,
neighborhoods
man,
that look better than white neighborhoods over here.
I'm telling you, it's like, and then the movies don't make it no better what they show about Africa.
Mom.
You know, hold on, Pooh. And because they show you the worst stuff. They show you the worst stuff. Granted, you got bad parts over there, like you got bad parts over here and bad parts anywhere over the earth. But I'm like, hey, I ain't never going to Africa. You're going to get killed when you go over there. They got machete men. Like, when I hear Africa, I hear and see machete men because that's how I was indoctrinated. That's what I saw, movies and stuff. I like, yeah, nah, bro, I'm good over here. I'll stay over here in America. At least I stay alive longer. You know, yeah, it's a part of the big plan of keeping us asleep to who we are. James, he is. I need to shut up and finish reading this, right? Because he just came down here and looked at me. He wasn't even dressed yet, though. He got all the stuff ready. Okay, so we'll talk about this later. I gotta finish this because we gotta get out of here like in about literally 20 minutes. But yeah, a whole paradigm shift. A whole paradigm shift happened for me, as Yahuwah began to show me some things, and he began to lead me to different places. I'm like, wait a minute, and it's so exciting, y'all, and it's so refreshing to have truth in your life. Okay. So let me finish Psalm chapter 82. Okay, verse 3. Hey, shush. Give justice to the poor and the orphan. Uphold the rights of the oppressed and the destitute. Rescue the poor and helpless. Deliver them from the grasp of evil people. But these oppressors know nothing. They are so ignorant. They wander about in darkness while the whole world is shaken to the core. I say you are gods. Shush. You are all children of the Most High. But you would die like mere mortals and fall like every other ruler. Rise up, O Yahuwah, and judge the earth, for all the nations belong to you. Look, guys, if y'all don't mute that, y'all gonna have to go back in there.
You don't have music here.
And you gonna have to turn it down. Okay, last chapter for today, y'all. Psalm chapter 83. O Yahuwah, do not be silent. Do not be deaf. Do not be quiet, O Yahuwah. Don't you hear the uproar of your enemies? Don't you see that your arrogant enemies are rising up? They devise crafty schemes against your people. They conspire against your precious ones. Come, they say, let us wipe out Israel as a nation. We will destroy the very memory of its existence. Yes, this was their unanimous decision and still is. This is what they did. All the nations are in cahoots to not only keep our land, but to cause us to forget who we are. Don't you hear the uproar of your enemies? Don't you see that your arrogant enemies are rising up? They devise crafty schemes against your people. They conspire against your precious ones. Come, they say, let us wipe out Israel as a nation. We will destroy the very memory of its existence. Yes, this was their unanimous decision. They signed a treaty as allies against you. Ain't that the truth? Think about the Berlin Conference. It was a conference where they divided up the whole of Africa. When you hear the people that live in the state that was created by the Balfour Declaration, that little slither of land that they call all of Israel, is not all of Israel. It is a part of our land, but they divided it. If you go and you look in the Berlin Conference, that document right there, that treaty is what divided up all of Yahuwah's land. They divided up the whole of Africa. They set in borders and everything. So when you hear them, oh, they're going to part my land, I'm like, what are you talking about? Land has been parted. And they just getting you looking at this one little slither piece of land. All of Yahuwah's people cannot fit on that little slither piece of land, first of all. Too many of us. We reproduce too many children for all of us to fit in there. It's not possible. It's a part of the land. Even though, like I said, they dug that Suez Canal through it, and it looks like it's a part of another country. It's not. It's still Africa, canal or no canal. That's a man-made, man-dug canal that is a part of the parting of our land. But it's still, even though it's a river going through it, a canal, it's still a part of Africa. Right? Okay, I'm done. Let me finish this. Okay. Yes, This was their unanimous decision. They signed a treaty as allies against you. These Edomites and Ishmaelites, Moabites, Hagarites, Gebalites, Ammonites, and Amalekites, and people from Philistia and Tyre. Assyria has joined them too and is allied with the descendants of Lot. You remember, all these names have been changed over the years, so these people still exist. They've just changed their names. The one that I do know, Philistia, is the Philistines, Palestine. Okay, that's all, about all I know. I'm still looking into it, so if y'all know, help a sister out. And if I got that part wrong, correct the sister. Let me know. Help me out. I just kind of figured it was the same because it sounded, I know that's probably an ignorant way to define the people, but that's the closest I got at this point because I started looking into something else. But you get what I'm saying. But I really do. From a couple things that I looked at, I really do believe Philistia is Palestine. Philistines, okay. Do to them as you did to the Midianites, as you did to Sisera and Jabin at the Kishon River. They were destroyed at Endor, and their decaying corpses fertilized the soil. Let their mighty nobles die as Oreb and Zeb did. Let all their princes die like Zebah and Zalmunna. For they said, let us seize for our own use these pasture lands of Yahuwah. O Yahuwah, scatter them like tumbleweed, like chaff before the wind. As a fire burns a forest, and as a flame sets mountains ablaze. Chase them with your fierce storm. Terrify them with your tempest. Utterly disgrace them until they submit to your name, O Yahuwah. Let them be ashamed and terrified forever. Let them die in disgrace. Then they will learn that you alone are called Yahuwah, and that you alone are the Most High, supreme over all the earth. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. That was Psalms 81, 82, and 83. It is October the 29th, 2020, Thursday, year 2 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 2-year consecutive day count, day 620, I wrote 22. Day 652. And remember, that is without the Sabbath days and the feast day, Sabbath days added in. All right, y'all. So, and we read Psalm 81, 82, and 83. So let us head right over to the blessing, which is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is what? Yes, the Nazarite vow. All right, y'all.
What else can the door explore? That's okay.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Yisrael, or you shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. One quick note. Something I noticed. I was looking at something. And do you know the people... I say Israel because we're familiar with that term. But do you know... like over in India, I was looking at a couple different videos, and when they say Israel, they don't say Israel. You know what they say? They call it by its proper term, Yisolili. When I heard it, because sometimes, they speak fast, so you got to kind of listen intently to understand what some Indians are saying if they're speaking fast. And I heard them because somebody was translating for somebody else. I mean, not translating, but he was speaking a little bit slower. So you could understand, but I heard them both say Yisolili. I'm like, wait a minute. He said Yisolili, and of course I learned the term is Israel. That's our, Israel. I'm like, oh snap. So, like, really, we are really the only ones that calls Israel. Or when you see it in the news, they use the term because it's the going. Let me not even say legal term, but you get what I'm saying. So for the sake of people misunderstanding what you're saying, they say Israel. But other countries and people who actually live there, they refer to Israel, the real Israel, they refer to them as Yisolili, So, and those were Indian people, who live in India. So, but I thought that was pretty cool. So, truth is coming out everywhere, and you will see it, and you will hear it if your eyes are open and your ears are in tune to what's going on around you. All right, beautiful people, that's it. I love you. I gotta go. I see you bright and early in the morning. Peace.